Good morning. Hooray as the sign up, if you don'ty already get California Today delivered to your inbox. When you think of Los Angeles' biggest tourist attractions, or even its architectural landmarks, you might not think of Hollyhock House. Commissioned by the oil heiress Elaine Barnsdall and completed in 1921, the house was designed by Frank Lloyd Wright. But historically, it has not drawn the huge flow of design-loving pilgrims that many of the architect's most famous buildings do. On sunny days, locals sprawl on the lawn surrounding Hollyhock House at what is now known as Barnsdall Art Park, picnicking or taking selfies with panoramic views. Getting inside the home for a self-guided tour, however, has typically required less planning than brunch. That's probably set to change, though. Last week, Hollyhock House became a UNESCO World Heritage Site, a part of an inscription that recognized 8 of Wright's major works. He is the first modern American architect to earn the honor, and, taken together, the group of works, which includes the Solomon R. Guggenheim Museum in New York and Fallingwater in Pennsylvania, is one of just 24 UNESCO World Heritage Sites in the U.S. You can explore the whole World Heritage list here. All of which means that Hollyhock House is likely to get a lot more visitors. Officials who manage the property for the city of LA, which owns the park and the house, told me they are excited for the challenge. I think we definitely going to have to change our pitch from being a hidden gem to celebrating the fact that we a Los Angeles icon, said Abby Brach, the house's associate curator. She said she and her team had long drawn on the network of people who manage Frank Lloyd Wright houses around the country. Dealing with larger crowds is old hat for, say, the staff at Fallingwater, which draws about 160,000 visitors per year. As compared with the roughly 30,000 visitors Hollyhock House hosts each year, according to Ms. Brach. She said the UNESCO recognition did not come with money, but it was a great boost for fundraising to begin new digital initiatives and pay for restoration projects. Christopher Hawthorne, a longtime architecture critic for the Los Angeles Times, who recently became the city's chief design officer, told me that as a part of Wright's oeuvre, Hollyhock House is more than deserving of any new attention. It's really a pivotal moment in his career, a final break from the prairie-style houses he had become known for, Mr. Hawthorne said. The house's design incorporates a range of architectural traditions, including Japanese and Mayan, in what Mr. Hawthorne described as a radical hybrid that influenced architecture in LA throughout the 1920s. He said the Central Los Angeles Public Library is a great example. Still, he said, it'll be crucial to balance protecting the house, which is more fragile than a civic building, with accommodating more visitors. And if you can't get to Hollyhock House or you're hungry to see more of Wright's California work, Mr. Hawthorne recommended the Marin Civic Center. Read more about the UNESCO announcement here. We often link to sites that limit access for non-subscribers. We appreciate your Reading Times coverage, but we also encourage you to support local news if you can. When people are arrested, their children can't be picked up from school, or if they are caring for the elderly, no one will be around to give them their medicine. Undocumented immigrants around the country, including in Los Angeles, braced for promised raids, although they turned out to be smaller than expected. The New York Times. President Trump tweeted that 4 Democratic congresswomen should go back to the countries they came from, in a factually inaccurate attack on American lawmakers. The New York Times. Also, have you been told to go back to your country although you are American? Tell the Times about it here. Governor Gavin Newsom fired the state's top oil and gas regulator after watchdog groups raised concerns about conflicts of interest and a surge of fracking permits. The San Francisco Chronicle. For decades, some Los Angeles sheriff's deputies have been part of tattooed gangs. For decades, sheriffs, blue ribbon commissions and lawsuits have tried and failed to break them up. Can the FBI do it now? The Los Angeles Times. And every era in Hollywood has a symbolic epicenter, a place that sums up everything, especially power and sometimes absurdity. This one has Netflix's first-floor lobby. The New York Times. Meanwhile, Stuber, an R-rated buddy flick, stalled at the box office. It was another setback for Disney's Fox. The New York Times. News from Silicon Valley. The Federal Trade Commission approved a roughly $5 billion fine against Facebook for mishandling users' personal information. The settlement needs final approval, but it would be a landmark deal. The New York Times. A vast ecosystem of databases full of people's faces compiled without their knowledge is fueling the spread of facial recognition technology. The New York Times. Representative Kevin McCarthy, the House Minority Leader from Bakersfield, argues that consumers shouldn't look to government to keep their data private. New York Times opinion. RSVP to this panel discussion at the San Francisco Public Library on July 31. Times events. Almost a year ago, a ring-tailed lemur named Isaac was abducted from the Santa Ana Zoo, then abandoned in front of a nearby hotel with a note for the police. Now, the authorities say his teenage captor is being brought to justice. The New York Times. Everyone was seeking maximum brutality of epic proportions. See photos of skateboarders flying down Dolores Street in San Francisco during an unofficial and impromptu hill bomb. SF Gate. The Festival of the Bells in San Diego marked the 250th anniversary of California's oldest mission. The San Diego Union Tribune. We've gotten some new subscribers to California Today recently, so my editors and I wanted to say hello and thanks. We're always experimenting with the format of the newsletter, and we want to hear from you about what you want to read, see, or learn. Or, just email us to introduce yourself. We're at catoday@newyorktimes.com. California Today goes live at 6:30 a.m. Pacific Time weekdays. Were you forwarded this email? Sign up for California Today here. Jill Cowan grew up in Orange County, went to school at UC Berkeley, and has reported all over the state, including the Bay Area, Bakersfield, and Los Angeles. But she always wants to see more. Follow along here or on Twitter, @Jill Cowan. California Today is edited by Julie Bloom, who grew up in Los Angeles and graduated from UC Berkeley.